Good morning. Thank you for the introduction. Dear Chairman, it's a great opportunity for me to be here to represent our team and to represent Professor Economidis on this excellent session and to present a part of our research work. The title for this oral presentation is The Effect of Smoking on Exhaled Carbon Monoxide and Arterial Elasticity During Prolonged Surgical Face Mask in the COVID-19 era. These are all the contributors for this work, and I move on to present our data. First of all, we made the observation that during COVID-19 era, the use of surgical face mask hampers the spread of COVID infection. It's a fact so far. So the impact of smoking while wearing a surgical face mask on exhaled carbon monoxide and vascular function in smokers has not been investigated. So we studied 40 smokers of conventional cigarettes, 40 exclusive heat-not-burn cigarettes users, and 40 non-smokers. All patients had similar age and sex and a similar profile. They were almost healthy individuals. In all these patients, we measured the exhaled carbon monoxide concentration, the pulse wave velocity, the carotid to femoral pulse wave velocity by the complier device, and the central systolic blood pressure. All measurements were done at baseline while subjects were wake up in the morning before smoking. They were repeated after 8 hours of wearing a surgical face mask and perform their usual habits of smoking, and after an 8 hours period without wearing the face mask and perform their habits of smoking. In this table, we can see the demographic and some clinical characteristics of our population. We see that there is similar age and sex between the categories. They almost have similar pack years habits and a similar Fagerstrom score, the smokers, and it's the first observation from this table is that while wearing the mask, smokers, either conventional cigarette smokers or heat-not-burn cigarette users, tend to increase their blood pressure after using their mask and smoking. Also, we can see that a significant interaction was found between carbon monoxide at baseline and at the end of an 8 hours period with and without wearing a mask and the use of tobacco products or non-smoking. Now, we can see in this table that exhaled carbon monoxide was higher in conventional cigarette smokers compared to heat-not-burn cigarette users and non-smokers throughout the study. Also, in both conventional cigarette and heat-not-burn cigarette users, all vascular markers such as pulse wave velocity, central systolic blood pressure were increased at the end of each one of the two study assessments compared to baseline. However, in non-smokers, the use of a mask had a neutral effect on vascular markers, and the same happened for the carbon monoxide concentration. As we can see from this diagram, compared to baseline, the percent increase of carbon monoxide was greater after smoking conventional cigarette with than without wearing a mask for 8 hours. Similarly, the percent increase of carbon monoxide was greater after smoking heat-not-burn cigarettes with than without wearing a mask for 8 hours, exhaled carbon monoxide. Also, from this table, we can see that compared to baseline, the percent increase of pulse wave velocity was greater after smoking conventional cigarette than without wearing a mask for 8 hours. And also the percent increase of pulse wave velocity was grading after smoking hits of heat-not-burn cigarette without wearing a mask for 8 hours. As a conclusion, this study demonstrates that smoking of any tobacco product, either conventional tobacco or heat-not-burn cigarette, during a prolonged use of a surgical face mask may further compromise vascular function. Thus, quitting both conventional and heat-not-burn cigarettes is imperative for a better health during the COVID-19 pandemic. This was our work, and I want to thank you for your attention.